Welcome back to the halftime show here on the PAC Sports Network. We're at the half between Allegheny and Grove City, and we're now joined by Grove City's very own Josh Bryan. Josh, thanks so much for joining us today. How's everything been going this year for you individually, but also for your team?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for having me. First thing, I'm just happy to have been able to play every game so far this year. I've struggled with injuries a bit in the past, so just being able to be out there with my guys, and going to battle every game this year has been a blessing. So that's the biggest thing for me. And as a team, a little bit young this year, a couple guys that a couple freshmen in the lineup, a lot of sophomores in the lineup. Some growing pains with that early on. A little bit inconsistent, losing streak here, winning streak here, up and down. But seems like we're starting to figure it out here, and we're getting hot at the right time. So it's looking good for us.
Well, I know that you mentioned that you've been able to stay healthy this whole year, and it's been able to show. I mean, you've started in every single game that you have played in this season so far. How have you been able to kind of adjust to that, not only being healthy the whole season, but also playing this much basketball, especially, over the last 4 years or so?
Yeah, it's been a challenge, but just trying to take care of my body as much as I can because it's a lot, especially the workload between high school and college. It's a big difference. It's a big commitment, and so just taking care of my body whenever I can. Trying to get enough sleep, stretching, ice baths, whatever it is. Doing everything I can to take care of my body, and not in the off season, of course, putting all the work in, all that I can, but during the season, it's about maintenance, and you don't want to be on your feet too much because 25 games in the regular season in a conference like this, it's tough.
Yeah, it's a lot. And it's all about those little things, like you said, the stretching, the ice baths, those little things that really go a long way down the stretch of the
Yeah,
season where you're actually feeling really good in February as opposed to, you don't do those things and you're not feeling so great in February. But I want to get into your career,
exactly.
Josh,
Yeah.
and kind of just walk our way into where you're at today. And I want to start with just what led you to Grove City. So for you, what was it that led you to Grove City and wanting to continue your career there?
Yeah. So, first thing, I obviously wanted to play basketball. So, any school that would recruit me, I would hear them out. And I'm originally from Pennsylvania, not this side of it, but near Philly. And so I kind of wanted to come back. I graduated high school in Virginia and kind of wanted to come back north. And so any school that was up here, I was interested in. And Coach Lammy actually reached out to me through a recruiting website. And so I was like, hey, Pennsylvania basketball, let me take a look. And so I came up here. I fell in love right away. I love the Christian atmosphere, the campus, people, everything. And Coach Lammy, he recruited me hard, and so I knew if I came up here, it'd be a place that I was cared about and actually wanted. And so all everything just kind of fell into place, and it was a perfect place. So
Well, I definitely think it was a great decision on your part because that first year was a very exciting one for you individually, for your whole team, capturing the PAC title, making it to the NCAA tournament. First off, I just have to hear as a freshman, what kind of impression did that leave you, after that season is over, where you're kind of walking away? Did you kind of think that that's how all college basketball seasons wound up?
I didn't necessarily think that's how all seasons ended up, but I was like, wow, like the sky's the limit for this program. I had never, outside of when I was a little kid or maybe some AU tournaments, and I'd never won anything. Like I never made it to the state championship, won the district championship in high school, anything like that. And so I always had a dream of winning that championship, being able to climb that ladder and cut down the net, put that championship hat on the shirt and everything. And we got the whole 9 yards when we won the PAC championship. And so that was just an amazing experience. And then being able to win a game in the NCAA tournament and make it to that round of 32, I was thinking, Sweet 16 next year kind of thing. I was just like, how far can we go? And I had 3 more years ahead of me, and had no doubts that we could, sky's the limit.
What do you remember most about that year? And maybe in specifically that team? I mean, what about that team do you think made that year so unique and really so special?
Yeah, between the success we had on court and the bond that the guys had off the court, everything about it was special. It wasn't, we're just really that talented, and we don't really have to get along off the court. We can just go out there and beat anyone. That wasn't the case. We really did have to, work through some trust and accountability things early on and grow that bond off the court doing non-basketball things. And so there was really no holes on that team as far as, this guy had a problem with this guy kind of thing. From guy 1 to guy 20, it was just, a close relationship. And so that was a lot of fun because you spend so much time together and, there was never a time where I was like, I wish I could just get away from these guys. It was, every single day I was looking forward to coming to practice, looking forward to doing whatever team event we had, anything like that. And so honestly, every day it was just exciting. It was just fun. It never felt like, oh man, this is a drag, long season, whatever. It was fun, everything.
Yeah, I mean, when you're around a group of guys, on a team that the camaraderie goes not only from on the court but also off the court, that really makes for a very dangerous, very successful recipe, and it clearly showed for you guys. But I know you mentioned a lot of being able to be connected with one another off the court. Next year you weren't able to do that a whole lot with COVID, and so the pandemic comes rocking in. Your sophomore year, your second season there. What was that year like, and just having to kind of now get completely readjusted to, not only you get adjusted to college basketball your first year, now you're getting adjusted to your sophomore season with COVID, dealing with a pandemic. So what was that year like, and how do you feel that your team kind of grew throughout that year?
Yeah, absolutely. That was tough. That was tough. So complete difference from freshman year. I think it was maybe 67 practices or something before we even had a game. Um, and so usually it's 2 weeks of practice, and then we're getting into our first scrimmage. So what, 10 practices? But yeah, nearly 70 practices before any game. You're kind of wondering, am I ever going to compete again against someone else? It had gotten to February. We're in February now, and we're thinking playoffs. But that year it was February. We were playing our first game, and so that was tough mentally, physically. It was definitely a challenge for the guys, but I think the leadership that we had that year, Justice Rice was still on the team, and then we had Eric Miners, and Josh Bryan, a part of our leadership, people, and Isaac Thrasher, and they really kept us together. They really, kept guys' heads on straight when they were starting to waver, starting to think, man, is this worth it? Should I even be here? You know, what's going on with COVID, because that was kind of newer at that point. And so I'd say, the leadership from the guys that we had was unmatched. No, no other team. I mean, other teams went through it, but for me personally, I was really questioning a lot. It was a tough time, and so no other guys I think could have kept us straight as well as those guys did.
So during that time, I'm sure you probably learned a lot of those leadership skills from those older guys. And now, fast forward a few years later, you are one of those older guys, and like you said, you have a very young team. What you learned from those guys do you now try to apply to being a veteran and kind of using those same leadership skills?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the biggest thing I try to do is I just try to connect with those guys because that's what they did with me, and it meant the world to me. Just me being a freshman, wide-eyed. I don't know what's going on. It's college. It's scary. It's new, and just having a senior, and I see the success that these guys have on the court. They've been here 3 4 years, and they're taking the time to invest in me. That means a lot, and so I kind of want to give that back to the younger guys that are coming up now. Because I have learned a lot. I've been on some great teams here, been on some not so great teams here, been through the COVID year, um, had some great leaders, and so I do have a lot that I can give back to the younger guys. And so really just trying to connect with them, build a relationship with them, let them know, I care for you, and I'm here for you, whatever you need. I'm trying to help you, and I think that's the biggest thing, and that foundation is really what was special for me back then, and what I'm trying to do now.
Well, I know that we still have unsettled business for you guys to finish out, still have a little bit of the regular season and then into the playoffs. And Josh, before we get you out of here, just want to hear from you. What do you think is going to be key? What do you think is going to be important for your team getting back to the PAC title and making another championship run?
Yeah, so I mean, we talked about this a bit as a team, but we've struggled a little bit to put a full game together. We'll have a great game where, We win the rebound margin. That's something we look at. We win the rebound margin by like maybe 30, which is almost unheard of. But we also put up 30 turnovers and didn't shoot well. Or the next game, 10 turnovers and we shoot well, but we get out rebounded, or the other team shoots really well, and our defense isn't there. So we've struggled a bit to kind of put everything together. And these last few games, I think we've found that. And so that's the most important thing for us is, we've got the foundation. We had a great game in this one category, a great game in this one category, a great game in this one category. So now let's put that 40 minutes, one game, and who knows what we can accomplish when we do that.
Well, Josh, again, we appreciate you stopping by today on the Halftime Show, and we wish you nothing but luck moving forward this season.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time with me.
That's Grove City's Josh Bryan. Folks, don't go anywhere, as we will have more of the second half between Grove City and Allegheny right here and only on the PAC Sports Network.